The third mansion, Chapter 2, of the interior castle. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Anne Boulay. The Interior Castle, or the Mansions, by Saint Teresa of Avila, translated by the Reverend John Dalton. The third mansion, Chapter 2. The saint continues the same discourse, and speaks of aridities in prayer, etc. I have known some souls, and may with great truth say many, who have arrived at this state, and lived many years in this uprightness and composure of soul and body, as far as can be done, and yet, after this, when they now seemed almost lords of the world, at least greatly undeceived respecting it, when His Majesty began to try them in some small matter, they acted with so much restlessness, disquiet, and narrow-heartedness, that they made me astonished, and also exceedingly fearful for them. It is no use to give them advice, because having so long addicted themselves to virtue, and practiced it, they fancy they can instruct others, and that they have abundant reason to feel such things. In a word, I have met with no remedy, nor do I find any to console such persons, unless it be to show great compassion for their affliction, and it is, indeed, a pity to see them subject to such misery, and not to contradict their fancies, for they agree in their imagination that it is for God's sake they endure these things, and thus they never consider it to be an imperfection in them, which is another delusion that happens to persons so far advanced. That they should feel such things is no wonder, though, in my opinion, this feeling should quickly pass away, for our Lord, in order to make His elect sensible of their misery, often withdraws His favors for a time. We need nothing else in order to know ourselves immediately. This way in which our Lord tries these souls is soon discovered, for they very clearly understand their defects. Sometimes, when they see themselves inclined to earthly things, and these no very great matters, without their being able to help themselves, this afflicts them more than the other. But this I consider a great mercy of God, for though it be a fault, still it is very useful towards acquiring humility. This, however, is not the case with the persons I speak of, for they, as I said, admire these things in their thoughts, and wish others to admire them likewise. I will mention a few particulars, in order that we may prove and understand ourselves better before our Lord prove us. It is better to be prepared and to know ourselves beforehand. A rich person having no children, nor any one to whom he can leave his estate, happens to lose some of it, yet not so much but that the remainder is sufficient for himself and household, and he has even something to spare. Now if such a person should be so much disturbed and uneasy as if he had not bread to eat, what use would it be for our Lord to require such a person to forsake all things for the love of Him? It may be said that the person is troubled at his loss, because he could have left his money to the poor. But I am confident God prefers that he should conform himself to what His Majesty does, and endeavor to keep his soul quiet, rather than to exercise this charity. But as he does not do this, because our Lord has not advanced him so far, let it pass. Let him understand, however, that he is wanting in his liberty of spirit, but by means of it he might dispose himself in such a way, that our Lord would be induced to give him this liberty, because he begs it of him. Another has abundance to live on and something to spare. An opportunity presents itself for obtaining more wealth. If it be offered in the way of a gift, let him take it, but seek after it, and when this is obtained, to strive for more and more. Let the intention be ever so good, and it must be, for, as I said, these persons are given to prayer, and are really virtuous. Yet let these individuals be assured that they will never enter the mansions next to the king's. It is just the same with these persons if they chance to be despised, or their honor to be lessened, however slightly. For though God gives them the grace to bear this trial well very often, since He is very desirous of favoring virtue in public, so that the particular virtue which they fancy they have may not suffer, or it may be because these persons have done Him some service, for our Lord is exceedingly good. Yet there remains in their mind a certain uneasiness, which they cannot easily overcome or get rid of. O my God, Are not these the persons who for so long a time have meditated on the sufferings of thy Son, and have considered how great a favor it is to suffer, and who even desire sufferings? They wish every one to be as regular in their manner of life as they themselves are. And God grant they may not imagine the anxiety they suffer to be only for the faults of others, for in their thoughts they imagine this to be meritorious also. You may think, sisters, that I wander from the subject, and that what I say does not relate to you, because here, in this house, there are no such things, since we neither have, nor desire, nor seek after wealth, nor does any one do us the least injury. These comparisons, then, you may say, have nothing at all to do with us. Still, many other things which may happen may be learnt from them, which to mention here is neither necessary nor convenient. By these comparisons you will discover whether you are wholly disengaged from all affection to that which you have abandoned. For certain little matters present themselves, though not of this kind, by which you may make a sufficient trial of yourselves, and know whether you have the command of your passions. And, believe me, the matter consists not in wearing or not wearing a religious habit, but in endeavoring to practice virtue, and in subjecting our own will in everything to that of God. It also consists in regulating our lives, conformably to whatever His Majesty shall order and appoint, and in desiring not our own will, but His. But as we have not yet arrived at this point, let us, as I said, acquire humility, sisters, for this is the ointment of our souls, and if we possess this virtue, the Physician, who is God, will come and heal us, though He may delay a little. The penances which such persons perform are as regulated as their life. These they carefully observe, in order thereby to serve our Lord, for all this is not bad. In the performance of these penances, they use great discretion, in order that they may not injure their health. Never fear their killing themselves, for their good sense will take care of that. Such a love is not desired as deprives us of reason, but I wish we had such reason as not to be content with serving God in this manner, always in the same way, so that we never arrive at the end of our journey. And as, in our opinion, we are always going on, and thus we tire ourselves, for, believe me, this is a very tiresome way, it will be very good if we do not lose ourselves. But, my daughters, if we had to go from one country to another, where we might conveniently arrive in 8 days, how would you like it if, on account of the inns, the winds, the snows, the rains, and bad roads, we were a year on our journey? Would it not be better to finish the journey at once? For we shall meet with all these inconveniences, and there is danger from the serpents also. Oh, how many clear proofs could I give of this! God grant I may have escaped these, for I often think I have not. While we proceed with so much caution, everything offends us, because we are afraid of everything, and so we have no courage to venture forward, as if we could arrive at these mansions, and leave others to endure the difficulties of the way. But as this is impossible, let us, sisters, for the love of God, urge ourselves on, and leave our reasons and our fears in His hands. Let us forget this natural weakness, which may occupy us exceedingly. Let our superiors, whom it concerns, take care of this. And let us think of nothing but hastening on to see this Lord. For though you have but few delicacies, yet too much care for your health may deceive us. How much more when our health will be no better on this account? This I know, and I know, likewise, that the matter does not consist in that which relates to the body, this being the least considerable. The journey I speak of is our advancing with great humility, and herein, if you understand me, I consider lies the loss of all losses to those who do not go forward. We should, therefore, imagine that we ourselves have travelled but a little way, and so we should really believe, but that our sisters have made haste, and have advanced far, and we ought not only to desire but endeavour to be the most base and wicked of all creatures. If we do this, we shall prove that we are in a most excellent state. Otherwise we shall continue all our lives where we are, with 1,000 afflictions and miseries, for, not having left ourselves, our journey becomes very difficult and painful, because we travel weighed down with this clay of our misery. But this does not happen to those who go forward, and ascend to the remaining mansions. In these mansions, of which I am now speaking, our Lord does not fail to reward